Hey, what do you think of my art?
It's good, but it could be darker.
Hey guys, it's Sam, and unless you went to my high school and knew my 2D art teacher, nobody's going to get that joke. But hey, it's a pretty generic phrase, right? You finish an artwork, you spend however much time on it, you put a lot of love and care into it, you go out and ask for critiques because you really want to improve, and what does everybody say? It's good, but it could be darker. Your values could be a little bit stronger. It needs more contrast. Quick disclaimer, not every artist may want to go darker, be it a stylistic choice in general, for specific pieces or what have you. I'm not saying higher contrast is necessarily the way to go or necessarily better, but if it's something that you struggle with or if you've never tried it out before, I highly recommend you give it a go just to kind of experiment and experience it. But going dark is hard and it's scary. And you don't want to mess anything up, and insert a million other reasons here. I know how you feel, and trust me, loads of other artists definitely know how you feel. And in fact, this is something I still struggle with to this day. So let's talk about how to get over this fear and explore the world of going dark for both digital and traditional artists. For digital artists. Alright, real talk guys. Yeah, we don't really have an excuse. We have layers, we have undo, we have masks, we have filters, multiple save files, and a whole array of settings to help aid us. So first step is to take whatever artwork you want to work on and duplicate it. Just start there. Now on the second copy, it's just a copy, so go crazy with it. You shouldn't have to worry about screwing up because it's just a copy. You still have the original file there to go back to whenever you want. So go crazy with colors, filters, dodge and burn. Do everything that every artist has told you not to do. Try painting with different brushes, try different filters, try tools you've never tried before. Try overlay, try levels, try anything that your program has to offer. This is also a great opportunity to learn what other tools in your digital art program can do. If you have a program that has a similar feature, Photoshop's level tool is actually one of my favorites. It's a really great tool to see the before and after, or even make minor adjustments to your artworks. You can really see just how much higher contrast can transform your artwork. Another option if you don't have that feature is to duplicate a flattened layer. So take all of your layers, duplicate them, flatten them all into one, and set that layer to overlay, soft light, hard light, whatever you have for your program. You have a little bit less control than you do with the levels feature, but I recommend playing around with opacity and masking if available. For traditional artists. Alright, we traditional artists, we have a little bit more of an excuse. Our stuff is permanent. But don't worry, it's still 100% possible. Just a little bit more work. I'm sorry. You can make junk copies of your artworks, or even make pieces specifically for the purpose of being bad. So for making copies of your artwork, you can scan it and print out copies. You can use a light box or a similar tool. I know I've used the window before with sunlight. You can use transfer paper and retrace the artwork. However you do it. Side note, scanning and printing it out, even if it's on printer paper, can still be very useful for color and value testing. If you don't know what colors or tones to use on a piece, you can kind of print out little thumbnails and just test them out on the paper. So just like with digital artists, traditional artists can then take these copies and then butcher them. Just do the same thing that I recommended to digital artists, but with traditional tools. One advice that was told to me was to actually make a dark spot on your paper, like insanely dark, and then try your best to make the surrounding area of the piece match that dark spot. If you've ever been to one of my watercolor streams on Twitch, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I often start off a piece too light, I'm too careful, I'm too like, oh I gotta make this pretty, but then it doesn't go in a direction that I like and I'm not happy with it, and typically that's when I YOLO. And just dive in, I go really dark, and more often than not, and in fact 100% of the time so far, it ends up way better than I expected, and I'm really happy with the results. Experimenting with glazing if you're using paints can be very useful as well. You can slowly darken or tint specific areas of your artwork. If you don't know what glazing is, I highly recommend checking it up on YouTube. There's bound to be a bazillion tutorials about it, but it's super great for watercolor, acrylic, oil, and I'm sure various other mediums as well. So just use colors, use tools, use different methods and techniques and what have you. Just stuff that you've never done before or stuff that you haven't in a way that you haven't done before. Like, these are just copies. It doesn't matter what happens to them because you'll always have the original. Additional side note, this stuff can apply to digital artists as well, and for digital stuff, traditional artists as well. A lot of stuff can go across mediums if you think about it creatively enough. Also try going in with the expectation that this artwork will be bad. It'll be horrible, you won't want to show it to anybody, and best part is, you don't have to show it to anybody. You can keep it a secret all to yourself. Going in with that mindset really helps relieve a lot of the pressure and anxiety and stress on trying to perform and produce quality pieces. If you want more tips like this, I recommend my video Being Afraid to Draw. Link will be in the description. Another alternative is to use various forms of mixed media, but for this specifically, I'm talking about traditional and digital. You're probably most familiar with artists taking their traditional artwork and playing around with it digitally. It's totally an option and it's not cheating. Take advantage of the tools that are available to you. You can also do this in the reverse, though it's a little bit less common, but you can take your digital artwork, print it out, and continue on with it traditionally. You can take advantage of traditional art tools that you don't have digitally. And if you screw up, well, no big deal, because there's still the original digital file or the original traditional artwork that you either still have or you have a scanned version or what have you. Some quick tips for both digital and traditional artists if you're unsure of whether or not your piece needs to go darker. You can take a picture of it, be it with your phone, camera, what have you, then make the picture black and white. Smartphones should have this ability, and if you're doing this digitally, then you can use your digital art program, and there's also various online websites you can go to upload your artwork and just have them transform it into a grayscale image. You can also up the contrast of your piece, so again, smartphones typically have this ability with contrast and brightness. You can do the same thing with your digital art program, playing around with levels and other various tools. I've seen online websites that do this as well, so this is totally available for everybody. And just see what happens when you increase the contrast. Do you find that it looks more appealing and better? Well, now you know to head in that direction, and if it doesn't, then you're good. Got nothing for you. If you want to get stronger with going dark, I highly recommend doing value studies. This can be from life or from photographs, so I recommend, if you're using photographs, to turn the image black and white first. Colors can often be quite distracting, and oftentimes you might be surprised by what the value is when you turn an image black and white. Something might be brighter or darker than you initially anticipated. If you're having a hard time deciphering what value something is on your image, you can use a color picker, be it in your digital art program or various online websites that do this as well, to kind of check your work and give yourself some more experience with what values are what. P.S. This works for doing color studies too. Going dark doesn't have to be scary, it can be a lot of fun. If you'd like to take the time to study value and contrast, your pieces can often end up a lot stronger for it. Whether or not you end up using high contrast in your piece, at the very least understanding it will give you a better direction on where and how to take your art in the future. So join me, take the dive, no pressure, just see what happens. And that's all I got for you guys today. If you'd like this video, share it with a friend or someone you think it might be helpful to. And if you'd like to help fund these videos, you can support me on Patreon or Ko-fi. I'll put the links in the description down below. I'd really appreciate it if you check it out. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Alright, so thanks so much for watching, guys. Bye! Hey, what do you think of my art? Let me just... There we go. Hey, what do you think of my art?
It's good.
Just look at the one.
Improv. I don't know.
Just the two lines